We've got the legendary Tommy Wiseau.
You must be kidding, aren't you?
More awkward sex than a prom after party. Something for all you sports fans out there. A tempting seductress.
I like you very much. Lover boy.
And a whole lot of reminders.
Johnny's my best friend.
Johnny's my best friend.
He's your best friend.
His best friend.
Oh, come on, Johnny's my best friend.
It's The Room, but is it watchable? Thank you, Applause Audio Track, and welcome everybody to Is It Watchable? I'm your host, Paul, and I am honored to be the 11th millionth person to review The Room, so that probably means you've seen this before, only on a different channel with a different host, probably better. Films achieve cult status for a lot of different reasons. Some are underappreciated gems that flew under the radar, some are such wacky fun that they add a whole new dimension to the viewing experience, while others reach such depths of awfulness that they somehow manage to come up the other side as highly watchable guilty pleasures. For some, that might seem strange that the worse a movie is, the more people might like it, but if you've spent any time perusing the internet, and certainly if you've watched this show, then you know there's a lot of love out there for some pretty bad movies. I first became aware of the train wreck curiosity bad movies can bring about watching an episode of Seinfeld back in the 90s.
Hey, look at this. Plan 9 from Outer Space is playing tomorrow night. One show only.
I've always wanted to see this.
You know why I was supposed to see this 5 years ago?
Of course, they were referring to Ed Wood's disaster piece from 1959. With its nonsensical storyline, cheap special effects, and painfully obvious lack of expertise from the director's chair, Plan 9 from Outer Space is considered one of the worst films ever made. And people love it. Same with movies like Troll 2, Mac and Me, Robot Monster, and others. In fact, bad movies have become such a popular source of alternative comedy that filmmakers have taken to intentionally making bad movies to cash in. We've got the Sharknado movies, Birdemic, and The Lost Skeleton of Cadavra, just to name a few. But while those can be amusing, they're just not the same. Part of the fun of watching bad movies is knowing those involved were oblivious to what they were producing and had such blind, misplaced confidence in their filmmaking abilities that they actually thought they were making something great. Like this movie, The Room. Tommy Wiseau, the writer, director, and star, didn't set out to make an historically bad motion picture. What he saw was a compelling and tragic relationship drama filled with engaging dialogue and interesting characters and powerful performances. But what the rest of us saw was a pile of shit. We open in scenic San Francisco, where our hero Johnny rides a streetcar home from work. Once there, he gives his much younger fiancée Lisa a sexy red dress, and she immediately tries it on. Next, Denny, their teenage neighbor, walks in without knocking and starts checking Lisa out.
Wow, look at you.
It's from Johnny.
Anything for my princess.
Johnny and Lisa want to get it on, but Denny can't seem to take a hint.
I'm going to take a nap.
Can I go upstairs too?
Denny, I think I'm gonna join him.
The two decide to adjourn to the bedroom, leaving Denny to creepily watch them ascend the stairs. In the bedroom, they partake in some pre-coitus pillow fighting when look who shows up to the festivities.
Danny, do you have something else to do?
I just like to watch you guys.
Oh, Denny boy.
This scene kind of perfectly sets the tone for the rest of the movie. Characters do weird things, they say weird things, but nobody else in the movie seems to think any of it's weird. It's like a parallel universe. So, with Denny finally gone or peeping through a hole in the wall, we get a lengthy sex scene / music video where what we know of human anatomy is tossed completely out the window. The next day, Lisa's mom comes over for a visit.
I don't love him anymore.
Why don't you love him anymore? Tell me.
He's so boring.
After her mom leaves, Lisa calls Mark and sets up a meeting for the next day. When Mark comes over, Lisa puts the moves on him, but Mark rejects her advances because
Johnny's my best friend.
but then decides, you know, what the hell, and we get another sex scene / music video, but this time on the stairs. Kinky. But afterwards, Mark feels guilty because
Johnny's my best friend.
luckily, Lisa understands because
I know. He's your best friend.
later, Johnny drops by a flower shop to pick up some roses for Lisa.
Hi.
Can I help you?
Yeah, can I have a dozen red roses, please?
Oh, hi, Johnny. I didn't know it was you. Here you go.
That's me. How much is it?
It'll be $18.
Here you go. Keep the change. Hi, doggy.
You're my favorite customer.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
What the hell was that? It's like it was written by an alien who's never actually witnessed human interactions before. Wow. Next, Denny drops by the apartment and this happens.
You look beautiful today. Can I kiss you?
And then he leaves. When Johnny gets home from work, he's upset because he didn't get a big promotion. Lisa suggested he have a drink to take his mind off of things. Johnny doesn't drink, but Lisa convinces him to do so. They get drunk and we get another sex scene / music video. Then, like she always does after having sex with Johnny, Lisa visits with her mother, who has some tragic news.
I got the results of the test back. I definitely have breast cancer.
That's sad and all, but Lisa has her own problems.
Mom, he's not what you think he is. He didn't get his promotion, and he got drunk last night. And he hit me.
Later, Mike and Michelle, a couple we've yet to meet, show up and have sex in Johnny and Lisa's living room because that's what they do. Then Lisa and her mom show up and they leave. Then Denny comes over.
How many people come in and out of this apartment every day? This is worse than Grand Central Station.
Yes, thank you. It's like an actual legit screenwriter snuck in and secretly added a logical line to the script. Anyway, Lisa explains to her mom and the rest of us how Denny has no family, how Johnny's like a father to him, how Johnny rented him an apartment when he turned 18, blah blah blah. Up on the roof, a drug dealer demands that Denny fork over some money he owes and things start to get ugly. Luckily, Johnny and Mark show up on the roof to rescue him. Then Lisa and her mother appear on the roof. Everyone is in shock and Lisa interrogates Denny with some strange questions.
I owe him some money.
What kind of money?
I owe him some money.
What kind of money?
Later, Lisa tries to seduce Mark over the phone, but he's having none of it and says it's over between them.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
This might be the most famous and most quoted scene in the movie, that dramatic entrance meant to convey anger and confusion over being wrongly accused of striking Lisa, combined with what a delightful surprise it is running into his friend Mark. It also illustrates just how clumsy this script is, completely unable to move from one plot point to another, kind of like somebody who doesn't know how to drive a manual transmission trying to force a car into gear. That grinding sound you hear, it's kind of the same. Anyway, Johnny and Mark have a discussion about women and relationships. Then Mark leaves and Denny shows up, right on cue. Johnny and Denny play catch from like 6 feet away before Denny makes a confession.
It's about Lisa.
Go on.
She's beautiful. She looks great in her red dress. I think I'm in love with her.
This movie's turning into There's Something About Mary. Fortunately, Johnny's a pretty modern dude and takes it all in stride, telling Denny not to worry about it. Plus, Denny has a backup plan.
What about Elizabeth, huh?
I love her. When I graduate from college, get a good job, I want to marry her and have kids with her.
Denny loves all women's. Next, Lisa and her friend Michelle are lounging around drinking wine. Lisa tells Michelle that Johnny hit her and also that she's sleeping with Mark. Then Johnny comes in and Michelle leaves. When Johnny asks what they were talking about, Lisa gives him attitude and Johnny snaps.
You are lying. I never hit you. You are tearing me apart, Lisa.
The next day, Johnny, Mike, and Denny are playing catch with the American football when Mark shows up and accidentally bumps into Mike, injuring him because that's an interesting thing to have happen. Later, Lisa is talking to her mom, again, and tells her how much she doesn't love Johnny, again. But this time she tells her mom that she's cheating on him, and wouldn't you know it, Johnny is listening in from the stairs. Like, not even really hiding at all. So Johnny decides to start recording Lisa's conversations instead of, just confronting her about what he just heard. Next, Johnny seeks some advice from his friend Peter, who's a psychologist. But when Mark shows up, they start making fun of Peter for not wanting to run in an upcoming race.
Chicken, Peter, you just a little chicken. Cheep, 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 cheep.
So not only has Tommy Wiseau never heard a human conversation, he's never heard what a chicken sounds like either. Then Lisa and Denny walk in and Mark and Peter leave. Then Denny leaves. Next, we're back on the roof where Mark is smoking a joint when Peter shows up. Peter confronts him about having an affair with Lisa and Mark straight up tries to murder him. But then it's all good and they leave. Later, the guys are in their tuxedos for wedding pictures when Denny suggests they go play catch with the football. Peter, because he has a brain, doesn't want to, but the guys aren't having it. Not wanting to endure any more of that, Peter agrees and they go out into the alley to toss the pigskin. But when Peter tries to go along, he bites it and it's game over. Later, Lisa brings Mark up to the bedroom and the moron is somehow confused as to what her intentions are.
What's going on here?
I like you very much, Mark.
Oh, come on, Johnny's my best friend.
But he once again decides to put all that best friend's business on hold and we get a fourth sex scene / music video. Then the next day, I think it's the next day, Lisa's preparing a surprise birthday party for Johnny when Mark shows up and the two start getting it on. Then Michelle comes in and Mark leaves. Michelle asks Lisa if she's told Johnny about her cheating ways, but as we all know,
Mark's his best friend.
there's yet more talk about how Lisa doesn't love Johnny. This is followed by another scene with her mother where she talks about how much she doesn't love Johnny. This movie would be like 20 minutes long if they cut out all the sex scenes and every time Lisa has to explain how she doesn't love Johnny anymore. It's the night of the surprise birthday party and amongst the mingling, Johnny notices Lisa and Mark making sexy eyes at each other. To get some alone time with Mark, Lisa comes up with an ingenious plan to take the party outside. When everyone leaves, she and Mark get cozy on the couch. But what's this? Someone walks back in and catches them? Inconceivable. Outside, Johnny makes a big announcement.
Hey, everybody. I have an announcement to make. We're expecting.
But they're not really pregnant because
I told him that to make it interesting.
it makes my head hurt. A little later, Mark is pressing Lisa about her pregnancy and she slaps him. Johnny and Mark get into a fight, then they make up. Seriously. Then, not long after that, Mark and Lisa are canoodling in front of the whole party when Johnny confronts them. Another fight breaks out, and this time it's really serious because Johnny's holding nothing back.
Chip, 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 chip.
Upset that everyone he loves is betraying him, Johnny locks himself in the bathroom upstairs. Just outside the door, Lisa decides to call Mark and tell him how much she loves him because I guess she's just trying to torture Johnny now, I'm not sure. Having been listening through the door, Johnny comes out and demands to know who Lisa was talking to because apparently he's been paying zero attention this entire movie. He gets the tape that he recorded all of her sexy conversations on and plays it in front of her. I guess in case she forgot all the stuff she did and needs proof. Of course, Lisa doesn't give a damn, gives Johnny a fat adios and heads over to Mark's place. Johnny loses it and starts smashing everything in the apartment before crumbling to the floor and having simulated sex with Lisa's red dress. But that dress just isn't the same without Lisa in it, so he rips it up. Then he takes a gun out of a small treasure chest and shoots himself in the head. Lisa and Mark rush in, I guess having heard the gunshot, and sob over his dead body. Then Denny shows up and asks to be left alone with the body, which Lisa and Mark smartly don't accommodate because Denny's creepy. And so ends this epic tale of sex, betrayal, drugs, breast cancer, and football. So, will Lisa and Mark's relationship be able to withstand all the guilt? Will her mom beat breast cancer? What about Denny? Will he steer clear of drugs and finally marry Elizabeth? Where will Michelle and Mike have sex now? Whatever. This movie could have been 77 hours long, and we still wouldn't get the answers to those questions. The Room, as you might have guessed, is on nearly every list of worst movies ever made, usually found near the top. But like I was saying earlier, the worse a movie is, the more people are likely to fall in love with it. That is certainly the case with The Room, which has exploded in popularity since its 2003 release, becoming a staple of midnight screenings in the vein of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, has had a book, The Disaster Artist, about its making, as well as a 2015 motion picture by the same name starring James Franco. If you toss in all the articles, interviews, and YouTube videos out there, there's likely nothing I can tell you about this movie that you don't already know, but for the uninitiated, here's the dollar tour. The Room was financed, produced, written, and directed by Tommy Wiseau, who also, of course, played the lead role of Johnny, so he basically did everything. And Wiseau was easily the most interesting part of The Room's legacy. He's such a mysterious figure and such a private individual that some of the people closest to him don't know his whole story. Here's a guy with a thick, vaguely Eastern European accent who in the past has reportedly claimed he was from Louisiana. He's also been somewhat reluctant to reveal his age, implying that when The Room was released, he was somewhere in his mid-30s, even though he looked to be at least in his mid to late 40s. It's been said he's independently wealthy, which kind of makes sense considering he forked over millions of his own money to make this movie. But how he made those millions? The stories are all over the place, with real estate being one of the better theories and organized crime being one of the most fun theories. Wiseau's desire to be a filmmaker and produce a movie far outweighed his abilities as either a filmmaker or producer, making head-scratching decisions like purchasing pricey cameras and equipment instead of the industry-standard practice of renting all that stuff. Constructing expensive sets instead of, simply shooting at readily available nearby locations. Or simultaneously shooting the movie on both 35mm film and HD video because who knows why. I could go on and on, but I really just recommend reading the book The Disaster Artist or renting James Franco's movie by the same name. It's all just bananas. Now, you can totally be forgiven if you've never heard of The Room before. It never received a wide release, shocking, or any significant promotion outside of Los Angeles, and even there it pretty much just amounted to a single billboard in Hollywood. But movies this bad often promote themselves, and the resulting cult following is huge. And in addition to all those people who dress up and bring props to midnight screenings across the country, the film has a pretty impressive list of celebrity admirers, including Paul Rudd, Seth Rogen, Kristen Bell, and of course, James Franco. So The Room. Is it watchable? It's been called the Citizen Kane of bad movies, and yeah, that's exactly what it is. I said it's near the top of every worst movie list. Well, it's also near the top of nearly all so bad it's good movie list. And for me, it's not just so bad it's good, it's so bad it's great. Which is quite a feat considering this movie contains none of the bad special effects that I love so much unless you count those stupid green screen scenes. It's just a slow-moving, dialogue-heavy relationship drama. But guys, that dialogue. From Johnny's butchering of the English language,
Danny, don't plan too much. It may not come out right.
to the out-of-left-field revelations that have no bearing on the plot,
I got the results of the test back. I definitely have breast cancer.
to the bipolar shifts in delivery,
It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
the copy and paste repetitiveness,
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
the shameless, grotesque displays of overacting,
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
It might just be the most quotable movie ever made. There's also the weird games of catch that somehow always end in someone getting hurt, history's most unsexy sex scenes, which you will be amazed at how long you have to hold your finger on the fast forward button for, and the inexplicably revolving door of characters that constantly pop in to visit just to leave 30 seconds later. If it sounds like I'm trying to build a case for you to watch this film, yeah, I totally am. Seriously, this movie is hilarious in its awfulness. It's as if someone once told Tommy Wiseau about these things called movies, and he decided to make one sight unseen. Like if you tried to, I don't know, make a pie simply by looking at a picture of one. If you love good bad movies, The Room is a must-see. Well, that's another one in the books. Join me next time when I check out the creepy terribleness of The Creeping Terror. And help us keep these videos coming by subscribing. It don't cost nothing.